Think fancy. Hi guys.
We live? We live?
We
We live?
live. Let's see
I
who we
think we're
got in
live.
here. Can y'all hear us a 5x5? Because we were having some technical difficulties just a second
Yep.
ago. Let me see if we get a 5x5 and then I'll go see who is in here. I appreciate all you being in here.
We had to bounce out, y'all, and come back in with us. We did everything we knew to do.
5x5. Okay.
I
Thank you,
see
Miss
them.
Sharon. I appreciate all you guys being in. Let me see who's in here and then we'll kind of discuss all this. Nancy, how are you? Oh, you got a notification. How about that? YouTube doesn't usually do me that way. Let's see. Black Cat, how are you? Fish Sticks, what's up? Random, hey girl, how are you? Hey, Coffee.
Watch your names if you want to.
Yeah. It's Miss Sharon, she's in charge. Do what she says because she's the she owns this channel. I tell y'all that all the time. She's a wallflower. How are you?
I look glitchy.
That's all right, Coffee. Go do. I know it's one of those times that we lost TT1.
I'm glitching, y'all. Sorry, I can tell, man. We're struggling.
We got to pray. We were praying for this live because to let us know if he's on my end when I see him, it's glitching and it's kind of that isolated, frozen. Let me know if y'all are seeing any of that. But if not, we'll just.
Man, yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Hey, JD, how are you?
Good to see y'all. I see y'all on my TV Coffee first. Miss Sharon, random JD Etheridge. Yeah, I see y'all.
I appreciate all of you. And we put all the normal things, put things in all caps. So I wanted to do this because I have questions myself. And it's that time of year. Hey, Candle, Seabass, I see all you guys. I appreciate you being in here. If I miss you, I'm sorry. We have questions. This isn't a we know it all.
Yes.
I wanted this live to be a community conversation because I have and we all do things different. You know, I'm very organic and I'm not knocking anybody if they're not. Mm-hmm. There's different things and there's things that even organic things we can't use because we have bees. There's a lot of stuff, but I wanted everybody to bring your questions, your advice, your tips, anything, help each other out, help us out. Yeah, he's got his notes and everything.
Like literally, I'm hoping that I'll learn a few more tips from some of y'all out there tonight. Like this together, like I see you out there, Random. I want to say, Random gave me an idea a few years ago was to journal my journey of my garden, so I can keep up with what's what and what's where. And I appreciate you, Random. I still do that to this day. I draw it out and put what's in each row. I do even my buckets. I do a little circle of them and show what's in them and what time they were put out when they started blooming, so and so. Appreciate you, Random, and just all the little tips I've learned from listening to some of you farmers as well.
Yeah, I appreciate all of you. Anything, I have to keep myself organized like that because there's times, maybe it's getting older, where I'm like, oh, I remember, and then it's just so much going on. I'm like, I just have to, but anything to keep myself organized. Great tip, Random. I remember you putting that out. Yeah. He said you did it. Or either one of us glitching. On my end, we're glitching.
It looks like me. I'm watching the YouTube here, and I look to be glitchy. You're perfect on your end, KC, and I don't know why, because I've got good Wi-Fi and data here. Like I'm seeing really good Wi-Fi signal here, so I don't know, y'all. Could be StreamYard.
Yeah, I don't know, but let me know how it's doing. But
you, Random.
So anyway, anything y'all done, don't do. And I know a lot of you're not really. I mean, I'm ahead of TT1 as far as planting season because of where I live. A lot of you are like, oh, Black Cat said a little glitchy. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
And Liz, if I missed you, I think I'm seeing names. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but I think Liz, I don't think I said hey to you. I know a lot of you aren't there yet. You got a while. Some of y'all are still getting snow. I've been seeing that stuff like that, and it'll come up. Noticing glitches all over. See, Nancy, I'm glad you said that because a lot of people have been saying that there's something going on, just on and off. You know. Oops, Candle said.
Strange. Candle. Candle. You know what?
At least you didn't say wish. You got that wish.
Cold, Candle, you cold for that one. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, I see all my Wi-Fi devices are working. I don't know why this particular one's not. Like on TV, my TV's running fine. KC looks fine. I am over here kind of look like pixelated man. I'm in 2D over here. Some shit.
Hey, Lord.
Okay. Like the weather, I was going to speak on that. All of us are in different zones. You know, be careful when you look at your seeds, because your seeds can be saying one thing and you need to know what zone you're in. Tennessee, they got us in 5 to 8. I'm like, okay, I need y'all to narrow that down to a 7, which is what I've narrowed it down to. And I'm like, you know, so we're not ready yet, y'all. I'm still going to have some 40s coming up, and that's going to kill any little babies that are coming up out of the ground for me here. You know, so it's that Mother's Day rule with us as far as weather goes. You know, you're out of the weeds.
A lot of people, that's their kind of go-to calendar thing is Yardbird said, "You look beautiful, TT1."
Yardbird
said, "You look beautiful, TT1."
He's got jokes too. He's got jokes too, like Candle.
Yardbird's always got jokes. He always brings his sarcasm in here. You know,
I'm seeing him in here. You know, and there are all these people that I see are they garden like we do, and like I say, I'd love to learn everything from y'all. Like, look, what are you going to do when there are no more seeds? So what I've learned to do in my young time as a farmer on my own is to harvest my own seeds. You're going to have to. You're going to have.
We save anything that we can save for seeds or regrow from vegetable. From kitchen stuff, scraps, like when you do stuff, we do that all the time.
Right.
Like potatoes and sweet potatoes, we usually all grow all of ours from slips and cuttings from previous potatoes and sweet potatoes.
Yeah, me too. My last batch is always my seeds. I do it like that in my buckets. And I wanted to shout out to, because random had said something or somewhere, somebody, and I mentioned it, I've seen a few people talking about buckets, how they didn't have much luck with them. And for me, it's just learning a system with them. And the buckets do well for me. If I had 20 buckets, that'd be that'd be a pretty good amount of potatoes. Because I can get about 8 to 12 pounds out of a bucket if I'm lucky. Sometimes 8 pounds mostly. So if I had 25 buckets, I'd be producing a crap load of potatoes. I really would. I run about a 12 bucket to 15 bucket system. That's about the most buckets I run right now. I've got 12 buckets going.
Right. All potatoes. Do you do your onions and everything? Do a lot of y'all do buckets? Because we put our sweet potatoes in the ground. We put some regular white potatoes in buckets, but like russet potatoes and everything, we try to put those in the ground as well. And we do a lot of things with using straw and stuff as well with our potatoes. I'm
using straw too. I went and got me some. That's neat to make a little connection. So, you know, nice kind of. I'll tell you, it's open to it. See, we're blinking. I see it.
You're like on my end. You're kind of Robotronic sounding.
And these people, you know, what gets me mad is these people who are like, "Hey, I got my seeds. I've got a seed vault, and I've got a bunch of seeds put up." I'm like, "Have you practiced with them seeds? Have you even grown crops from them?" No, they're for when SHTF. I'm like, no, bro. You got to start growing now. You cannot. That's been talked about by more before me. That was, you know, I'm not the first person to say that. You got to be growing now if you want to grow in some kind of bad situation or a depression era type thing. Right. Just saying, y'all, grow some food, even a little.
Right.
It's good for bugs.
Coffee's got to go. But she's talking about she poisons everything. You know, I can grow like a lot of enjoy your dinner, have a good night. If you're already gone, I can grow everything outside, all that different stuff. But I will kill like succulents and a lot of houseplants. I'll kill them. I don't know why. But I'm
pretty good with houseplants. So, I mean, that's maybe where I got my start. I have a couple of houseplants inside right now, like a spider plant.
Basic houseplants, but like certain succulents and different things, I'll kill them. I don't know why.
It is an art. Like let's look at the philosophy of saying, "Hey, I'm gonna sow this whole field and do me some watermelons," right? And they don't do well. But then you spit some off the porch, and the next summer you got watermelons growing everywhere. It's just kind of, I don't know. Seeds can be hit and miss, and sometimes putting every bit of love into a seed ain't everything. It's not. I
told you some of the best things I've had has been those volunteer piggyback things that come out of my out of my my compost.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too. Like I had two potato plants and a tomato plant that came out of my compost. I was like, okay, I'm not giving up on you, little buddies, and I put them in buckets. Actually, strung that
Yeah.
little. It was a tomato. Yeah.
Yeah. Soil first. We put ours in soil. Somebody said something about
Right.
using straw. You do have to use. You have to make sure you know what you're getting if it's sprayed. If that's what you're talking about, because a lot of it it'll be sprayed. You do have to be careful with that. If that's what you mean, yard birds. I see some people got balcony. Like, oh, this is another thing. JD, thanks for bringing this up because people say, "Well, I live in." Yeah, you wouldn't have the same thing. Say you live in an apartment or townhouse, or you lived in whatever. You couldn't put in a.
Right.
I get that, but I'm like, at least put something in containers and buckets, whatever you have to. Something's better than nothing.
Hey, look, what you said. I'm surprised I didn't mention that. The buckets are meeting people that live in apartments, a small little spot in the suburbs. And they don't have no yard to do nothing. You got buckets and a deck, don't you? Yeah, you know what I mean. Like they're awesome. I saw somebody on YouTube in the community a few years back grow some on the balcony of an apartment in these buckets, like these totes from Walmart. Yeah. And they had all kinds of potatoes in it. So it is possible.
If you have, hey Dusty, I was hoping y'all would show up because I love their garden tour videos. I love them. They do really good. And while I do want this, okay, so I had some questions. Two of the main things that even sparked me to do this, and I got up with TT1 is, and I'll go over one of them. I want to know what your advice or different things. Because, back in the days, Granny, she planted everything together. She's planted everything. I mean, she had probably had it rowed out a certain way. But then you hear so much. What is y'all's thing about cross-pollination? Okay, what is your concern, worry, or thought process on cross-pollination? Do you make sure you absolutely separate certain things, like certain beans? Do you make sure you separate your squashes? Do you separate your beans? Where do you have a rule of? Do y'all have a strict rule of thumb? Because some of it I don't worry, and then some of it I get like nervous about, and that's what I thought happened to my cucumbers last year. So what is your melons and stuff like that? Yeah, what is your overall rule of thumb about cross-pollinating and wash? See, that's my thing, Dusty, is squash. I worry about cross-pollination with squash.
Melons and
I don't think you can eat it. You can't eat cross-pollinated squash, right? Because I did a video, I think, last year. I was like, what is going on with this? It's supposed to be yellow squash but I think it can have like too much of something in it that you're not supposed to consume that.
Huckleberry. Bees won't cross-pollinate, but the wasps do that dirty business. You know what?
Yep.
See, I would not want nobody's squash cross-contaminating or cross-pollinating with my melons. I would not, because I don't like squash. Like, would it be the same way? Wouldn't it affect the melons the same way? Or if this was to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know enough. And this is, I'm going to get you, Miss Sharon, because that also, Miss Sharon had sent me some seeds to certain butter beans. And I was like, the butter beans that will cross-pollinate. But then there's certain beans I grew beside each other and I never had an issue. So what's the thing about beans? Squash and melons I worry about. I move those apart.
No, I grew pintos, black beans, and kidneys all right in beside each other. Like two kidneys, two pintos, they did okay though.
I'll do that because it's easier to have your beans, whatever you're using for your beanstalk set up, whatever you're using for them to climb on their trellis or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Is it, and with the cross-pollination, is the problem come that, okay, I can't use those seeds. I can't reuse those seeds, or you're not supposed to consume that, or it just makes a funky fruit. It fruits off, something. Those things I worry about. I don't know.
I'm already learning stuff. Corn will cross. Dusty saying the cross-pollination, Nancy, messed up seed saving. Got some mystery peppers one year. Bumblebees love nightshades. See, that's what I'm talking about. The chat. I was hoping that y'all would get involved in it.
I think they would bring the answers because that has been making me, because we got a lot in the ground and we got things going coming up really over a foot tall. But that's our zone. That's where we're at. We got, Dusty, about seed trays. We have got so much stuff that's got to go on the ground. It's not even funny. And then I started thinking about this cross-pollination again. I had that with my squash last year. And I think I remember I told you, speaking of my garden stuff, I had bought a couple starter plants that were labeled wrong and they messed up my squash because I just put them, I was like, oh, this is labeled this. And I put them over there in the ground and they were messed up. Hey, Native. So good to see you.
You do got a lot of stuff, Casey, in seeds. You have a lot of stuff in seed. You showed me the pictures. That you got a lot of work to do once the moment hits y'all. I know that.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Native. Have you seen anybody else new? Black Cat Whirly.
So corn will cross with what? Different types of corn? Like, is there certain things, like when we say cross-pollination, we don't mix up, you don't mix up your different types of watermelons, but like I had something, I want to think it was like one of the wrong things I got. Huckleberry, tell me what, I think I put a zucchini in with my cucumbers by accident because I had bought starter things that were labeled wrong. And my cucumbers came out weird. They just were not right. And then I had the issues with my squash were weird.
He said, KC Huckleberry doesn't want me planting my delicious watermelons in a precious garden. Cross-pollination lives matter.
I'm like, don't put that over there. You have to find somewhere else to put that.
I know how you are about them watermelons, and I have like 2 strains. Like somebody sent me some seeds, and then I have my own that I made from that strain. That were grown on the mountain.
If you have not been with me, I don't eat watermelon. Now, I think they're beautiful. The colors, everything are beautiful. I love to see them when they're growing. But once that thing's cut open, and I don't have I'm not a picky eater at all. Like I like a lot of different foods. I'm not picky at all. But watermelon, don't even eat it beside me. I don't want to eat it. I don't want to touch it. It makes my skin crawl down my back. I don't. Yeah, I
understand that.
I don't eat it.
Like onions, I have an ick. I love the flavor of onions, but I have an ick with them. There's the texture. I don't know. It's just
some people. Okay,
but I love garlic.
Corn. Speaking of corn,
I've been watching this in Even Bridge too. Talking about the non-GMO seeds produce odd color produce. That brings up a point that I've brought up before on my show is you absolutely can take them beans from Walmart and put them right in the garden. They will grow.
Yeah, you can.
They will grow.
Yeah. Do you? Some of my seeds, I do soak, and I'll do I'll do a soak with water, but I also will put peroxide on some of my seeds. That the ones you have to soak. I do that. Now with the corn. Speaking of corn, the gem corn, the gem glass corn. It's that beautiful, all different types of corn. I see a lot of things. People are like, oh, you don't eat that off the cob. You don't eat that. But I've seen people eat that different color corn off the cob.
Right.
I don't know.
It's somewhere in a yellow and white corn here. Hey, Native saying some of the cross-pollination between my tomatoes have produced some very interesting fruits. See, that's daring. That's kind of the stuff we're scared to talk about, but he's doing it. He's already doing it. I do want
to know because okay, yeah. See, this is I'm sorry, I'm behind in chat. Yeah, so there was a cucumber, there was something they had gotten cross-pollinated last year. And you could not eat, it was a yellow, it was a yellow squash. It came out and it was yellow and green, long striped, and it wasn't the squash that's made like that. And when you cut it open, it was orange inside. And they were huge. It wasn't like a yellow squash, but that's what they were supposed to be. It got cross-pollinated. And because people said, oh, if it's bad from a cross-pollination, you won't even want to eat it. And I tasted just against my tongue. I just tasted the cut open raw, and it was so bitter. Even it smelled bitter. And I was like, to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is dangerous. I don't know what happened this year. And honestly, I've never had that happen gardening before. We've never had that happen. It was weird.
See, and it sounds like there's a lot of people that this is stuff that's new for me too. Like I feel like I've learned a lot in my 4 years of having my own garden dedicated to growing my own food, and I'm still learning. Like tonight, I'm watching this chat and I'm like taking this stuff in like a sponge.
Yeah. Now, Native, let me ask you, when you have had cross-pollinated, the fruits that it produces when it cross-pollinates, is yours fine to eat? Is it fine to eat like that? Or is that what you have to worry about? Or is it just that you can't reuse those seeds if they're cross-pollinated, the seeds that come from that fruit? So when I started looking up last year, when I had this mess go on, when everything got messed up in our garden, and there's certain squash and cucumbers and stuff like that happened, we didn't eat it because it just looked weird. KKP, I'm glad you're here because you do a lot of gardening stuff. Hey, Pilgrim. Everybody's coming in here. I appreciate you guys.
Brandon,
If I missed you, I'm sorry.
Some lemon cucumber seeds this year. Excited about that. Ooh, y'all are on a different level than me. I know Randall been farming longer than I have, though. I mean, yeah, I could listen to her and 7 others like her talk all night. Like, that's what we kind of wanted to do tonight, was have everybody.
Yes, I do, because that was I had 2 big questions, but that is one of them. See, Laura, she said she doesn't worry, and I didn't overly worry. There were certain things I just didn't. And then I know there's companion plants, and some of them, they don't get along. I knew that, but I didn't. Yes, Miss Sharon, tell them. I appreciate all of you. I think we all do that. There's a certain second rule, right? We don't waste a lot. You just wipe that off, wash it off, whatever. Just go ahead.
Right.
We're just building up our immune systems, Yardbird, doing that.
Mm-hmm. It's hit or miss. Since there's a weird cross-pollination between a Cherokee purple tomato and an aroma tomato. Both of them were heirlooms. I took seeds from the tomatoes that tasted the best. So he will trial and error on that one. That's negative. Down a little bit further. On that talking about, I don't maybe a strain of test.
You're all like, hey Jeremy, I can't hear you. You're all like pixelated. Can y'all? Is it like that with y'all? Tell me. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything.
I'm watching us on the TV, and I could be. It could be. I'm looking like an old video game. It's terrible. It's terrible.
You got a helicopter out there going over your house?
No, I mean, and I'm looking at the other devices. They look good. They look good as far as like, I don't know. It's like I need to go out and come in again. Try again, TT1. I'm going to go out and come in again. Y'all keep the conversation going. I got more questions.
He'll be back. Yeah, that's what my thing is, Native. I mean, I didn't reuse the seeds from that, and we've actually never had that happen. But I really think it started when I bought some starter plants, and they were labeled wrong, and I carelessly didn't check them out enough. I was like, oh, this is what it is. I just went and threw them out in the garden with the things it was supposed to be with, and I had stuff that was just a mess. Now, they grew abundantly. The squash, it was like taking over everything, but it wasn't natural. It did not look right. It didn't smell right, anything.
Please let me be good. Please.
Y'all say a prayer for TT1. So, okay, some smell sour, but oops. Okay, now see my chat's really, I don't know what's going on.
It's StreamYard. It's got to be StreamYard because you're good on your end. I'm great on my end. I bet if I went live right now, I'd be fine, and my guest would suck. I bet you.
Right.
Because like everything is running supremely good. Like, you know, the TV, the devices, everything.
Right. Okay. Sharon. How far apart do you need to make your varieties so you don't worry about cross pollination? What is y'all's?
There it is.
Come for that. I'd like to know. Hey,
Rip, Teresa. A lot of people just keep pouring in. Robert Bates. He keeps losing chat. He says the chat keeps going blank. So yeah, it's StreamYard probably, or YouTube.
YouTube or something, because some of them. Hey, Teresa.
We tried everything.
Yeah. Well, see, speaking of that, is sometimes my chat over here, it'll blank out and then it'll jump up. Right now it's okay. It acted a little weird a while ago, but I mean,
it's
fine, but his is like glitchy.
Okay.
We've never had that happen. You and I've done lives. We've never had that happen. Hey, Katrina.
No, we haven't. And I've never had it live where I'm glitchy either, because I have pretty good. I really do. I know you do too. Like, it's weird. You look great on the TV. You're coming through like 5 by 5. I'm coming through like 0 times 0. Like, it's bad.
Like,
let me see. I had some more things I wanted to. Hey, like I do raised beds, y'all. You're able to continually pour your nutrients in and kind of control your soil better than so as far as like row gardening. How do y'all feel about that? And like one of people we like a lot, MD Creekmore, he's got either 6 or 10 or 8 beds that are the same size. The kind of equivalent to what I grow with. Yeah, and they're really nice, but you can control each bed and grow each different crop in each one. He can hoop them, but like me and him have about the same size growing space, but his are in different containers. Mine's one big one. But raised beds, you're able to, like if you're in an urban area or anywhere where you just can only take up a little bit of real estate, the raised bed's pretty good. And if you keep throwing nutrients at her every year and compost and your coffee grounds and all that stuff, you're going to be fine. I throw good soil back at it and fertilizer every year. Like right now, it's covered up, sweating under straw, ready to go. Just sitting under the straw and just.
So Devil Dog says separate like veggies 10 to 30 feet, except for the corn, half a mile to avoid cross pollination. Gracious. So you better not even. Well, I mean, you can. Can't you plant yellow and white corn near each other and just maybe off, but it's edible, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It just may come out looking different. Is that how that works?
I would be okay with that if it tasted good because I love corn.
Yeah. When it comes to pollination, I'm not sure they're on that because of the wind. I mean, that's what my thing with pollination. I'm just like, I guess I just didn't think. I never put a whole lot of thought into it. And then last year I was like, what in the world? I've never had this. And it wasn't something that was edible. So it was like all of that squash looked and smelled. It was just weird. And then the cucumbers. And I put videos about that. And I was like, okay, I can't have this lost next year, which is also why I wanted to have this.
Pollination not showing that because the wind, the insects, the birds, all kinds of things pollinate. It's hard to control. That is what we're seeing. I see every type of flying insect in my garden, from the flowers to the garden. Even hummingbirds, dragonflies will come through and chill. Like everything. Like Huckleberry saying that the ones.
Well, that's why I thought there would be a lot more issues with cross pollination if it was a huge ordeal. I mean, it's not like we tell the bees and all the insects outside, like, hey, y'all you go to that one. But at the same time, and Huck will tell you this, they don't bounce from this to this to this to this, and then they don't do it like that. Also, nature knows what it's doing.
Y'all would need a lot of dirt for raised beds compared to ground area. I'd rather put the effort in. I mean, so that's a good thing. Like for me, I'm about to sell this place, and my raised bed ain't gonna be able to go with me, y'all. It's not gonna be able to. But I was gonna do another one. A couple of them this time, like the 300 square footers, like I have. Like that's why I say I got one that's 300 square foot, and then I'm doing a porch full of bucket stuff too. I'm thinking about doing some tomatoes in buckets because I had some luck with some cherry tomatoes last year. My daughter was like, she's like, these are delicious, Dad.
Yeah.
So, and I do it with a bucket, and I put it beside a pole, and I use a little string. I use a little masonry string to kind of let them just go up.
Right. I know. I agree with that, Miss Sharon. There's times we'll get, and I'm like, whatever. I mean, like when we start running out of things or something comes up or we get something comes out of the anything, I'm like, put it in something. I don't care if it's, and my thing, y'all saw, I think last year, we use kiddie pools. We use different things. I'm like, I don't care if it looks pretty. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get food production. That's just how I am.
Miss Sharon said they're on to us about them kiddie pools. Look, the price of them things have went up, man. Yeah. Somebody was talking about they're like $7. I priced them for somebody. I forget, but I looked. I was like, man, they're $7.50 where I'm at for the pools right now, and they're the little ones for the toddlers.
Yeah,
like for the toddlers. But that's all you need. A couple, some holes drilled in the right places.
You just put them in
Those are amazing.
That's what we did. Now I do keep my herbs. I keep all my herbs in containers. And I have my blueberry and blackberry bushes. They're in containers. I mean, now whether we end up moving them, but that's how I have them. Because I can move them in the winter season, and I've never had to. They come back with my herbs and everything. I just move them so they're covered.
Man, the chat is very split, and I love this on like people going, no, I'm containers, raised beds. I like row gardening. Everybody has the reasons. And look, I ain't mad at none of y'all because I would row garden too. Absolutely. Yeah. And maybe the next place I will put that time in because when I move to the next place, it will be the forever place.
Right.
It gets old, and you finally want to just land where you land. But I love where I'm at, but it's time to go. You know what I mean?
Right. So we don't have it. Things can just be a season, and that's what it is. No, Rip. Mm-hmm. So what do you cross? What do you postpone in on purpose? I'm interested to know what people are
Hey,
doing.
somebody post
When I look
one
it
of
up,
his older videos, like from 2 summers ago. Rip did some gardening back. Rip's a man of all talents. He's a MacGyver of our time, really. He's Kevin Bacon to us, right? So he had this yard filled with containers and raised bed type of stuff. And he just had it all in this little like backyard. Like he was growing the crap out of food in a small little spot in Oregon. Yeah. This was 2 or 3 years ago, y'all. So you have to go back. Any mods that ever want to look for that kind of stuff. Rip did some amazing things in a small space. Tiger 454 also does it in a confined space in her yard in Ohio. She does it like the utopia of chickens and produce.
Okay, yeah. And like containers, Liz. Yeah. Now I do. Now we have some onions in a container. Then we have a whole row of red onions and yellow onions, and we have a row because we eat a lot of onions. Now, but my garlic, I do those in containers as well.
Sure.
Grow bags. Yeah, I do grow bags. I guess I consider grow bags containers.
Tiger, I thought you were in Ohio for some reason. My fault. Yeah, you're about the same as me. My fault. Tiger, I didn't know. I knew you did it from your backyard. You had like everything all in one spot. So we were talking about cross-pollination, and you and Rip kind of came to my mind at how y'all have everything so tightly woven in your backyards. Like,
yeah, native about burying the log. Yeah, we at the bottom, we don't fill ours completely with dirt. We put branches, dried up leaves, all that type of stuff. We put those on the bottom because they'll break down. We do that as well, and then we put the dirt on top. Even if it's a really large container, like it's really big pots or grow bags, that's what we do. We put all that in the bottom of ours.
There's a lot.
You don't have to use as much dirt, and as it decomposes, it's good for
he's right. And I've seen like somebody tried to be negative about it, but they went back and looked. He said, we're going to dig up those ones that we planted 6 years ago with all those branches and logs in there, and it was decomposed. The stuff was decomposed. Yeah, and it will leave gaps. You'll have to fill your soil, and accordingly, like you're going to have to tamp it down when you use that stuff in your cardboard and all the sticks from the yard. But I would say absolutely do it. It's minerals. It's going to turn into vitamins to the soil. Is all it's going to do.
Yeah, and we have. I mean, we have chickens, and now chicken manure is a hot manure, so you got to let that cool down. You put it in your stuff, but then. You put up our compost the way we build things up, and we have, then there's different things. I always say don't ever use horse manure. We have a cow. It depends on your cow's diet if you want to use that, how it goes. But like goat and like rabbits, you can put that right in. And you're fine to use that. It's not a hot manure. The other things, and Native probably does this, is we have water in the back of our property that the ducks can go to, but we also have like the kiddie pools up there closer to the barn, and they get in that, and ducks dirty water in a hot minute. But it's so full of nitrogen and stuff like that. That water from that nasty, gross, disgusting duck water is fantastic for like our fruit trees and all that. You can just scoop that out and go water your stuff with it. It works really good.
You're on to something. I'm seeing the chat talk about all kind of stuff. We got, Native was saying that he doesn't know, like pine, I would consider to be pretty acidic. The most popular tree he could use to fill his raised beds will be pine where he lives. And I don't know. I would ask the chat, hey, is that too acidic? The pine, because we know how the soil is around pine trees. And also, Leslie,
in North Carolina.
Yeah, Leslie was using junk mail and stuff in the bottom of hers, and as far as that, and she had no problems, none.
Yeah, I've put cardboard. I've put not the shiny kind of newspaper, but like regular just newspaper. It can't be that glossy stuff. You put all that stuff in there, and we do worm bins. If you do worm bins and you throw different types of scraps, and you put sawdust and you put all kinds of stuff in there, now that has helped a lot.
Random saying she puts pine, oak. She used the Lincoln log system. LOL. White pine and oak leaves are acidic by Liz Miner. So yeah, I was right on that one that they are there. So
pine is very acidic.
Yeah, so you're gonna want
we don't have any pines. We just don't have pines out here. We did battle North Carolina, but we had pines all in our yard and around that garden, and it will suck the nutrients out of your ground, and it makes it so. I guess I'm way behind in chat. Sorry, guys.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to keep us, caught in the conversation, and you can show them too. And we can always revisit it because there's some great comments, man. Like there's some growers in here. That's what I was hoping would happen, and that's exactly what happened. A lot of growers have come in because I don't know how to do this all on my own, y'all. I'm learning, and I try to sponge in all the information I can, and get better every year. But I'm gonna tell you something. There's some health effects. And I was seeing this, and I believe this. What was it? That harvesting? Wait a minute. No. Let's see. There's common mistakes. There is a stress element that it's been proven it knocks away stress. You're getting vitamin D when you go into your garden. Like there is a lot of benefits to growing your own food, y'all. Like, and for me, I like to go out there barefooted and walk it and, do my weeding or whatever, pulling fruit in the evenings, however I would do it, and just walk it barefooted. And, if I'm watering, whatever I'm doing, I've been watering at night, y'all. And I'm like, nah, I need to start doing it in the morning. Like, I would do it way before the sun sets. Right. But I'm like, was that why I'm having some problems? Because I'm watering it in the afternoon instead of in the morning.
Don't go to bed. Don't let it go to bed with wet roots. That's like a word my grandmother used to say. But then you don't water the heat of the day.
Yeah. You never water in the heat of the day. Yeah. But so the morning's going to be way better is what I was using the first 2 years. And then I caught myself slipping a couple of times and would do it in the evening. I'm like, nah, it was check your soil pH. Man, so much information coming in. Pine and Freshwood.
You can do your soil pH. There's also a way you do it with, you don't have to buy a kit. And I can't remember what it is. Different. You can put all kinds of stuff. Sardines, or people put like if they're go fishing and they chop up the guts and the heads and all that. They put that stuff works great.
Yep, I have heard that tactic as well.
Yeah.
Sardines in the tomato buckets. Eggs. You know what I mean? Raw eggs. Farm eggs now.
You can put raw eggs, and also like when we would have from our milking cow, we'd have an abundance of milk. You can pour that raw milk into your garden, and it works great.
Yeah. So promoting mold growth, and let's see, Leslie's saying water it before the sun comes up. Okay.
Yeah.
See, the first couple of seasons I was doing that, and then when I'd get caught slipping, I'd be like, well, let me hit them because it was really dry today. And then you're like, what happened? Next day you look and you go, no, let's wait a day and then get back to mornings. I mean, like what I'm asking y'all, is it ever okay to if it's dry and you?
I mean, I have. I just don't make it a habit, but I have, because when we were droughty and it was scorching hot, and that stuff was fruited over, I was like, it needs water.
Last summer our season was strange. Like, remember we were saying y'all
talking about that
45 days behind, and I'm like, please don't let it be that way this year. I'm like, please.
Yeah.
Let us get on schedule at Mother's Day and walk our way to harvest and be looking at pumpkins and watermelons later in the year. And I want to, I grow my daughter's breed of these. She bought me a pumpkin one time. We cut it together, and it was a family thing. So I saved the seeds from it. I've been growing them every year, growing that same batch every year. I named them after my daughter, the seed strain.
That's awesome. Yeah. I do my best to garden. I go out in the garden barefoot. I know, right? And we do have fire ants and stuff here, and different kinds of. There's all kinds of stuff down here. That's how it is. But yeah, I try to make sure I'm in that dirt barefoot, and at least my hands.
Yeah, and put your hands in it. Like, you want to get your hands in it. It's I don't know, man. To me, gardening opened up a part of my brain and my life that I didn't know was there. It did. It unlocked a zen place that I didn't know I could get, or I would have been gardening when I was in my 20s, I would have been. I wouldn't have waited till I got older and started to produce my own food. I wouldn't have.
Drip system. There's a lot of people. The drip and the kind of the hose. I guess it's the drip hose you can put out there. They work well.
Yeah, man. Some big time people. Like, man, there's these people I know with some greenhouses near me, man, and I ride by there when ain't nobody got tomatoes, and they got tomatoes. I'm like, man, y'all make me sick. I mean, just beautiful fat tomatoes. When you look in there as you drive by, you're like, golly. Fireplace Ash Works, yeah, all that stuff is, man. I never use gardening gloves. Yeah, me either. I like the dirt. I like being in the dirt.
I don't have pretty girl fingernail things. I'm like, I have farm hands. Okay.
Leslie talks to her garden.
And anything don't you can reuse. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Don't you do that too, Casey? Don't you talk to your garden and kind of use it as a zen place?
I'm always praying and talking in my garden all the time. And I just do. It's just my peace. It's just my peaceful area. I think, okay, I'm caught up. But like we do a lot of things natural. We don't have chemicals and stuff on I'm not saying anything wrong with it. We just don't. I mean, I'll use a big things I use is like cinnamon because it deters ants. I get the biggest, cheapest thing of cinnamon you can get. And Miss Sharon, you're so funny. Well, whatever works.
I'm just looking.
And then I do use cayenne pepper. You have to make sure you don't get it up on your plants, but around it, because certain bugs, they won't come around. You can even use, I guess, the one thing that's not organic is like soapy water. If it's diluted down, you can do that for certain bugs. I will use that. Grits, like real raw grits, not like instant grits, raw grits. Also, because ants and different, they don't eat it and it kills them. There's different things like that I use. Cinnamon does. I've done a video on that. Cinnamon does. If it's real cinnamon, it helps with diabetes. Absolutely.
Okay.
I can see you saying this, Native, because I've read that in your voice. Don't you talk to plants? I always pray over my garden and talk to my plants. But we do things as natural as we can, and then there's always going to be, those things we run into. Some years it's you're fighting fire ants, and then some years you're fighting the tomato bugs and worms, and it goes around.
Now. I have fire ants that already set up camp. They did last year, and I noticed I tried to rake them around. They're back. I've got them in my fire pit. They're around in the rocks. They found a little place to. Fire. The ants are here. They're already here. They get an early start. Hey, I was thinking we were talking about stuff that like the years I used Marigold. I actually came home one time and looked around the corner and saw a mama deer and a doe and a couple babies with her, and she was kind of going towards the garden, and she kind of like was sniffing around and didn't like what she smelled. And I was like, "Hey, is that deers and rabbits and certain ground animals don't like the marigold, man? They don't
do marigolds. I can now in our garden we do have row gardens. Last year I did it in a sectional garden, which was different. Now we do. Huckleberry's got to put it down there. There are things this sprinkle grass type stuff that we sprinkle in the walkway part of our row gardens because it's adding in nutrients back to our soil while everything else is growing. And people are like, oh, you need to pull your weeds. I'm like, no, we put that there because it puts nutrients in there naturally. So we do that. The marigolds, you can get marigolds in boxing, sprinkle marigolds all over your garden. If they come up next to your plants and everything, that is just fine. But marigolds will keep a lot of stuff away.
Deers for sure. Like it works on certain stuff and maybe squirrels too. Because like mine's fenced in. So rabbits are not a threat to me because I'm fenced in on my raised bed. That's another advantage to having raised beds is you can control some of the critters. But like squirrels and stuff, they're going to do what they want to do. It don't matter. Squirrel's gonna find his way in if he wants to. But the mama deer, she didn't like the marigold. She didn't like how it smelled, and I never see him come back.
Yeah, if you plant your garlic or different mints around that stuff, I have those out there by my garden. That'll keep a lot of different pests away. Cinnamon, if cinnamon works well for ants, and they'll pick up and be like, okay, we're out of here. I'll put it right around them, or put it around your garden or areas, and they're gonna move away from that. That works well.
On the corners, I did it on my corners, and they seemed to, because there's woods about 20 yards off of my raised bed. It starts the woods and goes deep all the way back to the next property's ranch behind me, like way back and up the hill. You know what I mean? It's just woods. So the deers are right there where they live.
I just recommend using fresh raw. You're not, but duck eggs, chicken eggs, turkey eggs, quail eggs. You can use all that. You can put all that in there.
Yep. I would assume you could if they're straight from the farm. Yes, indeed. There's the diatomaceous earth. I'm surprised it's taken so long to make its appearance.
Oh,
For
we
the
have.
crawling
I
bug.
buy that by like 50-pound bags. We use that internally in the garden. We use it on everything. We use diatomaceous earth on everything. We have to be careful and not to put it on our like the flowering part of our plants.
Right.
We have to be very careful not to use certain things because we don't want to kill the bees. So I put it around the ground part, the stems and different things. But diatomaceous earth, that is one of the number one staples for gardening, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. No. Look, I'm seeing that comment. I'm like, man, you know what?
I was like, oh my God. So you talking about like gas grills only? Because we don't use gas grills, but are you talking about charcoal grill? You talking about, Shannon, you talking about all grills? Hey, McBean, good to see you.
Man, you said use. You don't use propane. Hank Hill was like, damn it, Bobby. You know, I like charcoal or wood myself. I do. Right. I just do. I mean, you know, propane is definitely efficient if you just, you know, you have it right on hand. But I'd rather do natural.
The cayenne pepper stuff will keep them away. You sprinkle, just get the cheap. When you're doing stuff like that, I just buy the cheap bottom of the bin, you know, big as large as I can get. The cayenne pepper on the ground, it'll keep them away.
Hey, so what you away too. But like industrial, like size, you saying pepper or like cinnamon as well? Like putting cinnamon on the ground too? Like
yeah, I put cinnamon out there around my stuff. And the cayenne pepper, you know, the powdered cayenne pepper, I put that out there around my garden because that will it'll keep squirrels away, it'll keep cats away, it'll keep a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of other insects, they won't come around that cayenne pepper.
Oh, I like it. Because see, this is giving me more options because I had some invaders last year of all different kinds.
Yeah, we have been Huckleberry, we have been doing the kind of no-till garden method. We've been doing some of that about not turning the soil. We've been doing more.
I want to mention something too right now. In a collapse or some kind of depression type of situation, you're gonna have to rely on hand tools. You might not have that tiller to fire that thing up. Yeah. And so for me with the raised bed, you control that, but it's still a lot of work. It's 300 square feet that I got to till with my hand, the shovel, and turn it.
You won't need to go. Well, sorry, McBean. I shouldn't say this. McBean's in here. I was like, you won't need to go to the gym if you're doing full-time gardening.
No, my God. In the summer, I'll drop probably 12 to 14 pounds every summer and then gain it back through the winter. I do because I'm just sweating. It's
just for extra warmth. That's what it is, right? In the winter.
Cinnamon and cayenne pepper works too. So we're saying you could really insulate a garden with some diatomaceous earth all around it and then have some cinnamon around the edges and some cayenne pepper around the edges. You're going to cover it. Yeah. It's going to be like a no-go zone for like insects. It will be and squirrels. They'll be like,
when it rains, you have to reapply that, or if it's been a bit, you just have to keep reapplying it. Yes, worm castings. We do worm castings and stuff like that. Like we have worm bins. We have a worm garden, a worm farm thing. We have that going on. It works great. Another thing that we use for our like kind of fertilizer is the organic bone meal. That works fantastic.
I see people using that with a lot of the gardeners on TV are throwing that bone meal and just throwing it at and breaking it in. Yeah, my grandfather used it, and blood. He used a lot of things. They were homesteaders. I didn't realize it. My grandparents were farmers, and of course, I knew when I was a young kid because they were producing fruit. They had an acre of land in the city, and I'll be darned if they didn't use a third or a fourth of it to grow crops from like corn and strawberries all the way back. All the way back from strawberries to everything to corn, potatoes, tomatoes, all the way back to the back. There'd be a wall of corn.
Yeah,
and she would can it, and then we would be eating strawberries or something in the winter. And I'm like, I didn't know we had strawberries. She's like, I canned them. She said, I canned them in August or whatever. I was trying.
We get I leave. I like spiders. If I see them, I'm like, you better leave them. Don't take my spiders out of my garden. Ladybugs. Okay. I love to see ladybugs. We've bought ladybugs before and put them in the garden when we just didn't. They just wasn't coming around. All of that stuff. We do the same thing.
Worms last year,
I leave them.
The tomato worms, man. I was slinging them suckers into the woods every chance I got. I was just like, and I know they come from the ground, don't they? Some bug. or aphids or whatever drop those or whatever into the ground. I'm not sure. And then you get those green, cute little.
I throw those things to my chickens.
Yeah. See, me, I don't got no chickens, so I sling them. I just sling them out the garden as far as I can. Carpenter bees.
We do. And then, thanks. Yeah, there's a lot of places. I saw them, and I think Harbor Freight had a good deal on some things just recently too.
For me, it's hand tools. I didn't want to skip that part. That you need a good straight rake. You need a leaf rake. You need a shovel. You need as many kind of trenching tools as you can get your hands on, because it will help. If even hand trowels, like I have even a couple of hand trowels made of wood that I use for my buckets, because I'm always, I don't know. It's just good to have these certain tools and have them good quality. Don't leave them outside. Cover them up, because fiberglass or wood, they're not going to do well if they're outside and getting beat up by the elements.
I'm reading all.
Man, people have showed up like overwhelming me. Like I'm watching the chat and watching what some of these people
not to miss anything. That's why I wanted to have this was not as those carpenter bees. Huckleberry has a story about those carpenter bees and our oldest son.
Carpintero, as the Spanish call them. I love the bees, man. I do. I like watching the bees and people that raise bees. It's just cool to me.
I know. We love our bees.
There you go. These good ones. Garage sales are great places to find cheap tools and other gardening things by Liz Miner.
Oh yeah. You can find any of those type of things. I always look out for things like that. Anyone's spoon onions exposed the top. I guess once mine start coming up, I see that they're usually done when I see them like that. So I guess I don't do it like that on purpose. I guess maybe.
Man, I did some last year. My first time doing onions. We were able to use the tops and stuff, and it was like the chives or whatever,
right.
And you can take an old onion from the store and just let that, chop that thing up and let them roots go upwards. I had some like where people are, around here in rural environments, people will be bringing you fruit and produce all the time. Like it's a trip. I'll be growing my own stuff, and then somebody come out and go, "Hey, you want a box of potatoes?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take them. I'll take them.
I'll take them.
For real, I'll take them. Because I can give them to my kids. I can eat them myself.
Absolutely. I want to throw this one out here because I had my two big questions, which would spark me. I was like, I got to get on here because people in chat, they will know. My other thing is a lot of y'all, this is my envious part of those who are up north in the mountains, not coastal, whatever, is, when you're in the South or coastal, you can't have root cellars. They don't do root cellars. They don't do basements or root cellars.
It's too humid, man. Too humid.
Those things will flood up with hurricanes. Okay. What is?
Yeah. Us too. Yeah.
Do what now?
No. Us too. It's too humid, man. You try to dig some root cellar, man. That thing will be moldy and dank, man. You have to almost make something like a bunker type of thing. You really would.
And so my thing is those who live. This is always a battle. This is always a constant battle. We've never found a one size fit for this because we live in subtropical, humid, hot, all that stuff. No root cellars, no basements, things like that. Is long-term keep for like, say your potatoes and all this stuff. People are like, oh, you put potatoes and carrots and onions. They put them in the root cellar basement and they're good. Well, they've been down here for months and months, a year, and everything's fine. What are y'all doing in those hot, y'all that are still in the hot, subtropical, humid, no basement root cells? How are y'all keeping your stuff long term? That is like that. I'm not talking about canning and blanching and freezing and freeze drying and dehydrating. I mean, like, here's my huge container of all these potatoes. It seems like every year we lose a bunch because the humidity and heat and all that stuff gets to a certain amount of that.
Yeah. You mentioned like 5 ways to combat that in those areas already. Like that's good how you went. Besides this and that and freeze drying and all that.
I need something else.
Did that. I've seen people dig.
Like when I want a whole thing of potatoes and I want my potatoes raw, and I'm going to use them because we eat tons of potatoes, and so we grow tons of potatoes, sweet potatoes, your onions, your all that type of stuff. How are y'all keeping them long term in these hot subtropical humid areas like that?
Yeah, I'm interested. I've seen
Because I need
somebody
to
in
know.
Tennessee do a trash can. They did a trash can right at
They
the
bury it.
below the freeze line. Yeah, you got to dig a nice little hole on a metal trash can. You'll get a couple of years out of it.
Right.
Hey, Yardbirds, what I do, he's talking about I give the extra produce. Like when you live in rural areas, y'all know people will bring you by eggs and stuff. Like when I opening the store and stuff, people are like, hey, you want some yams or some, I mean, just they're throwing produce at you all the time. And you're like, okay, I'll take it. And then I disperse it amongst people I know. You can be like, hey, you want to need some potatoes? Yeah, take half the box, okay? Because I'm good. But
there's a lot of stuff.
Hey, bury an old fridge, yeah. But how long would it last you? How many years are you going to get out of that till it?
I've seen like Native had said, will you do the? I mean, somebody had said, will you buy? Maybe what Native? You bury like the metal trash cans. I've seen that, but then you think about certain areas like when hurricanes come in, I don't know what's going to happen. But then Natives talking about hauling in dirt. I guess I didn't think about doing an above ground, So, but then I think about in Florida and all these different places. I think, well, all these people have like in-ground pools, right? So I'm like, well, that'll hold up your walls as far as being at sea level. It'll still hold that in because they do it that way. So I'm like, well, why can't you pour it that way for a root cellar? But you can't do them down here.
Right.
I don't know.
I gotta
figure out something because it's we lose
there
a lot.
There it is. I wanted you to see that comment. That's in your area.
So they would they would bury plastic totes and plastic trash cans with sand in them to make cellar. So, but the plastic didn't cause a problem. I thought the plastic would cause more of that moisture because I've seen them where they do it native, where like the old fridge or deep freezer, they would find like you can find them for free, like a deep freezer or something broken on the side of the road, and they have to put that exhaust pipe kind of thing that comes out of the ground, so it'll do like that. Do you have to do it the same way so the moisture just doesn't sit in there? I don't know.
It would too. Yardbird said.
You can get out here in the summer, the heat of it, and you can go dig down that ground, and it's hot down in that ground still. And I'm like, I don't know.
That Tennessee, in Tennessee, it's we have a certain point to where it would be cool. You hit that, you go down about this far, man. You hit cool dirt, man, cool. Because I guess it is, but it's humid. It's always going to be moist. It's definitely going to be.
Gets our stuff. Like if we go a long time and we'd have it like in the bottom of our pantry and boxes, and it's at the bottom and it's dark and it's in the containers it's supposed to be for all that. We always have a batch of them somewhere here or there. They're starting to mold or rot or decompose. And I'm like, man, I get envious about like people up north. I'm like, man, I wish I had a root cellar or a basement. I see people's stuff and they're like, you just been down here for 8 months and no issues.
I'm seeing everybody talk about their different types of soil, and I'm like, yeah, the cola buds, Tennessee, just red clay anyway, don't hold heat well. See, there's people that like in the Georgia going south that have to deal with that red clay a lot. I'm sure in Tennessee
we don't have any clay here, but yeah, I know.
I'm sure we have it here in some areas. I do believe. I'm sure there's some spots that there is red clay here, but I know going further south, you see more red clay. Georgia, places like as far as close to
Georgia, Alabama, I think they have clay. Nancy, I want to do that. I winterize a lot of my stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of things I bring in that, especially if it's things I keep in a garden. But there's things we've done with like peppers and stuff like that. That we've winterized them and they've come back.
I did it. Well, I carried on. We had a really weird season, and my peppers were blooming late. And I was like, it's getting cold. I got to bring them in because the buckets, they were still doing their things and starting to throw flowers like late. I was like, I'm bringing them in. I put them in this bathroom window upstairs that gets this incredible sunlight. And I ended up harvesting the peppers off of them. And it was cold outside by the time I harvested the peppers. It was them plants would have died. They'd have died a month before I put them in that bedroom. So I did able to get some to go further. I like to grow them all year. Rural King has good soil. It's sterile, even by Evenbridge. Knoxville area. Okay. Cola Bud saying Knoxville area. That's would be East Tennessee. I live in what's considered South Tennessee, really. Like I'm almost to Alabama.
Yeah, black. I may be behind the chat. Yeah, like I don't anything if I'm not getting ready to eat it. I don't wash anything. I don't wash
Hey,
my eggs, my produce, or nothing.
you
I
know,
don't
don't
wash
you?
anything like that
You know,
until
you were saying
after I eat it.
keep the dirt on your potatoes to eat them. Now, look, when I harvest mine, I look at them and go, "Hey, there's the harvest." So you're saying put them back in that dirt until I eat them? Like
Just don't
look and
wash
see
it
what
all
you
off.
got. Okay, yeah, well, of course, but like, don't you need a time for them potatoes to cure too? Like everybody knows, you got to cure some potatoes for a minute. The skins need
Yeah,
to.
I wouldn't put it back in the dirt. You got to cure them.
Yeah,
A
and then
couple
put them in
weeks,
the dirt.
right?
Yeah, yeah. 12 to 14 days. You know, if to be safe to let them skins harden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically
Right.
cure, like
Right. Cure. I call yeah, that's what I.
yeah. But for me, my very like I told KC, my very last potato crop of every year is gonna absolutely be my seedlings for the next year. Like that's what I do.
Right.
I don't use Dollar General potatoes. I use my own that I've been using for the last 4 seasons. This will be season 4 of this particular strain of potatoes that I grow. So
That's
it's like,
awesome.
yeah, but
Yeah,
hey, it's work,
do that. Yeah.
huh?
As
It's
much as
work,
you can
man.
do that with anything, saving your seeds or chickens, food scraps that you use your produce stuff and keep redoing kitchen scraps. There's a whole all kinds of videos and you can just Google that and it'll give you like lists and like this will regrow. I mean, celery and onions and on and on. It'll regrow from it.
It sounds like me and KC are both real. I used to think it was naive to take a little bitty potato plant that you find in the compost pile and then bring it to maturity. But I do that. I can't help myself.
We just did that. It was a companion. It was just like I call them, they're piggybacking in, they're volunteer. We found out because I was like, because it was about my tomatoes and it came up like overnight. I was like, what is this all of a sudden? And we took that and we put that one in a container and it's doing great.
Man, I can't give up on them. And some of my best, I've shown buckets on my videos that actually started from a little bitty potato plant. And I've gotten where my eye, I can recognize that stuff too. I go, that's a potato. That's a tomato. And then you can just reach the tomato plant. If it's already out of the ground, you can
know the smell of them.
Yeah, you could just get that little hint and you go, yeah, that's them old aromas that old man gave me. Like I keep those going, these aromas.
Right. Hey, Michigan.
I want to be the cucumber king again this year. Like my second year, I was the cucumber king of this mountain, man. My neighbors who have all been farmers for years, he said, you pretty darn good at them cucumbers, man. I said, would you call me the cucumber king, Mr. Dickerson? He said, I would, son. I would.
Got your ended up with
right? 144 cucumbers. And of course, his wife was getting them too. I would bring her these perfect spears, like every couple times a week. I'd bring her these spears, and she'd be like, "You know the kind I like, don't you?" Like in the country, they like them little spears, man, like hot dog kind of shaped or sized cucumbers.
They make good, pickles when you do them like that.
Yeah, man.
I pickle a lot of stuff, like our banana peppers and stuff like that. I do those with a brine and stuff.
You sent me. I'm interested to do. I think you sent me some weird lettuces and stuff, and I'm gonna try. I can't wait to try some of these. Oh man! If you got friends and you network with people on seeds and stuff, do that. If y'all have buddies or somebody offers you some seeds, Pepper Book Club offered me some seeds, and I need to get with him. He offered me some seeds one night in a chat. What? There we go. The whole chapter's on vegetables and containers. Pretty cool. You know what? I'm glad he did give you an answer before that, even on the Florida people doing that with the plastic containers.
I keep thinking, Barry. Thank you. You don't have to do that. I appreciate you.
He's the only person I know that's ever grown coffee successfully. Oh, no, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
That's nice.
Truly, I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Look. Now, Native. Now, this one's on you. Native. But I want the book, so go ahead. But the thing is it doesn't stop with the book. He'll be like, any reason to get on Amazon, then he'll be like, well, this was a good deal.
He needs to seek help, man. Seek help for the Amazon problem. Amazon Anonymous, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's funny.
That's cool. So Native is the only person I've ever known to successfully grow coffee, or did you get it close and then the pigs ate it? I think like he had some coffee growing in a greenhouse, growing coffee, right? And the pigs got it. Like he was successfully figuring out how to do it in South Carolina to grow coffee.
Native, I've never attempted that. I'm gonna have to pick your brain on that one. I haven't attempted that.
Native, just speak on that a little of your coffee growing, and are you still gonna ever try it again? Because I'd like to grow some coffee. I ain't playing a little greenhouse kind of thing going on, or grow it inside with some lights.
Yeah,
that's something I'd love to do, is grow inside, man, with some lights. Just be like my boy Camp Patton Compound. He'd be growing that stuff all year long, man. I'm using trampoline net to cover the chicken. Hey, Random, I've been enjoying your chicken videos, man. She does some cool chicken videos, man. She does.
Oh yeah. I always watch Random.
I like her shorts. I like the shorts she does.
We used an old trampoline cover that had ripped. Random. We use that as a cover on our chickens on their run. I think it was last year. We used that.
That's cool.
It had a rip and we replaced it.
The shading it gives them some shade, but also
it gives them the shading, but it's breathable and stuff, unlike a tarp or something like that.
Yeah, only so much light gets through it. Weeds are my specialty, says Liz Miner.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of medicinal weeds, and people think they're just weeds. It may be something good. That's true.
Yeah. They're crazy about the dandelions up here. Like people are like, "Hey, don't cut that right there." Some guy come up and was at the store. He's like, "Hey, on the side." He said between the building.
Yeah, the dandelions. Well, every part of it's useful. You use the flowers and stuff to make salve. You eat the leaves and then the green of it. And then there's certain times of year after the kind of the flowering goes away, man, dig up them roots and roast those things. Roast them, dry them, and keep dandelion roots are so medicinal. We have a ton of those.
Yeah. Goes everywhere. Hey, I think we have to go right to Pilgrim. Hey, I just subbed you, boss. Pilgrim's an artist. Let's see, Native T21. I grew up successful. Dang it, I missed it. Oh, it went by so fast.
What happened?
No, Native. He talked about it's a big comment later on down where he talked about. There's so much. Look, I'm gonna go back and watch this one, but like I've been watching the screen and I'm like downloading this information like a little computer right now. Like some of the stuff people are saying, like since we've started, I'm so good. There you go. I grew it successfully. It takes 3 to 5 years. The beans started, and then we had a storm and there was a tear in my greenhouse. But some of the free range chickens got in. Okay, I don't want to get you started on chickens, bro. Yeah, Pilgrim, keep it up, Pilgrim. I'm glad I didn't know you did content, bro. And I'm like, hey, he does content. He's a grower of the special flowers, but he's good at it. It's I'm sure he grows other stuff too. Hey, show everything. Show everything you grow, Pilgrim. Like, show us some of your fruits this year. That would be cool. I'm gonna watch it regardless, bro. See,
there's just so much, and and also my replay gang, I appreciate you, but remember my chat, because there's so much in chat, and I hardly hit any of the. There's so much more in chat. They hold my chat for 24 hours a day, so if you want, I would say wait until. Of course, I am saying it at the end of it, right? But my chat comes up the next day. There's tons. I appreciate all of you. It's been tons of information, but the cross pollination and it's something else about the way people were keeping things long term is they would wrap certain things in newspaper, and it keeps it from like I think it's like potatoes and stuff, so they won't get the eyes and stuff on them. I think that was something else that they did, but I got to figure out, because of our climate, as far as doing. We do try different things.
Do it, Yardbirds. Yardbirds talking. Hey, man, I might. I wish you would. Does he have content? Do you got content?
Yardbird?
Or is he not yet? Because I would sure follow him. Hey, man, you show me some growing stuff. I'll follow you. Not these fake people, but because I know you can tell the difference, man. There's some of these homesteading channels that'll do you wrong, just like prepping channels. They ain't about that life. I've told people all the time, this growing food is part of what you need to be doing, this preparation. This is one arm of the machine. is growing your own food. And it's a big one if things hit the fan. I look at my growing situation and go, could I feed myself on that? And I'm like, no, not yet. I'm not there yet. I could do 40 to 60% maybe of my food. Maybe if I was to get where I need to be. But, you know, to be where you could be almost 100% or 90% of what you grow is what you're eating. You know what I mean? But, you know, that would be a vegetarian diet for me, vegetables and fruit for me, because I don't have, you know, I don't do chickens, don't do rabbits here where I'm at. Probably would not do chickens. Might do chickens one day.
Do chickens, man. You can between the eggs, you can get your protein from the eggs and from the meat.
Hey, I'll be Colonel Sanders if I decide to do it. They'll accuse me of slinging birds in this town. They will. I say that boy slings birds. So Yardbird
said he would email it to you, but he won't put it up on SpyTube.
Okay,
he just wants us to do that.
I get that. No, I get that. Believe me. It's too late for me, bro. There's no help for me in KC. We're already out here. People like Native Voice and there's certain people, Pilgrim. You're out there for random.
Sometimes they just come in and say, I think it's about time to hit KC and Native with a strike. Let's go ahead and give them a smack. Every time, and it seems like there for a while, Native and I were like opposite. It's like I would get one and come out and he'd get one, and he'd get one and then come out and I'd get one. It was if
I could, you know, I know he stepped back and he has a lot of kids and he has a lot of stuff going on, and he does the homesteading thing. Like he has a whole, there's plenty of work for him to do after he gets off of his job. You want to talk about people doing the homesteading thing, is Native Voice. I loved his Black Pill stuff. I'm sorry, man. That was some of the best stuff on YouTube, man. It was. I mean, I miss Black Pill Show, bro. I promise you. I was one of your biggest fans. I was going to make him some shirts too, like just make about 6 or 7, you know, of Black Pill and just do the logo and send him a couple for him and Miss Rowan and Lady Rowan, and then keep a couple, you know what I mean? Because it was just fun, but you get busy.
Yeah, and this is that season. Look, Dave going back like scrapping stuff. He's like, I think I need to go through my stuff right now. I'm about to get it.
Hey, listen, look, man, we loved it. Look, it's been good for Miss Don't Be dragging back into the strike zone. I've been to YouTube prison and your name is everywhere, and so is KC's. I've seen a lot of people in there. Like y'all's name, I still see y'all graffitied and shit down by the commissary. I've been in there a couple times. One big creator, 100,000 sub creator guy who berates people all the time gave me a strike because I used his words, you know. But my son was proud of me. He said, Dad, if a 100,000 sub channel strikes you because you use their own words against them, then you're doing something right, Dad. Hey, yeah, I do miss the Black Pills, Native. I do. It
was good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I pulled back at different times because I was like, gosh, knows if they, you know, it just gets old fighting that game. And then, but you know, Native, they've been letting so much slide. Because even now, I'm just like, I don't care. I'm putting this out because I know what's going to happen. And I'm like, it's still up. And
You've been on a tear. Yeah, it's that way. You've been on a tear. I mean. I was like, you should put that on Rumble, KC. That don't belong on YouTube.
Well, I appreciate all of you. I knew Miss Sharon was going to jump on that one.
Oh yeah. Hey, what you said. Obviously, Yardbirds is coming at me tonight. Hey, I'm doing a live Saturday. Come on over, Yardbirds. We have fun, man. You'd like it.
Yeah,
maybe you're going to get started. Always.
I knew as soon as Native pulled it down there, I knew Miss Sharon was going to be like banging on that keyboard.
Cola Buds, somebody can put it in there. And I think I spoke in the chat earlier.
Yeah, so somebody throw down.
I can do it. I can just put something in there. I got you. I can just put my wait a minute. Hey, Cola in there. Here we go. Hey, I knew the chat would get involved. I was hoping, but I didn't expect to.
That's why I wanted to come here. I want to come on here because I did. It was the cross pollination. Because I do have so much stuff, and I kept telling Huckleberry, I was like, don't put that in. Don't put that in the ground yet, because I want to have this. I want to have this live first and about this cross pollination, because I've never had what happened last year. I never. Thank you, Miss Sharon.
You had the remember you had the straight line little kind of poison thing kind of go on. So what remember that?
Somebody sprayed that. There was a couple people, and we were out in the middle of the country, and there was through the woods,
that was weird, man.
All the different things, and I don't know. That had to have been nothing ever has come up about that again, but
intentional.
Yeah, but as soon as we started, this is the thing. Also, as soon as we started calling in like state and putting a report and doing all the stuff in it, and the state agriculture, all that they wanted to get involved. You know what they were most worried about? Do you want to register your garden? That's what they asked us.
No,
and I was like, nah, see, I'm done. I'm going to take my loss on this. I was like, okay, I'm not going to mess with that. So it was like, you can't even get something. Somebody did something to you. As soon as you let it out there that what's going on and people want to come out there, they want to take samples and do all this stuff. And they want to know if we wanted to register that. And I was like, well, you can register it now, because I'm just trying to figure out what happened. And, that's all they were worried about.
Hey, Rip, I'm going Saturday shift, number 36. Yeah. Hey, if you ever want to be on one, I would love to have you. If you want to sit on panel with me one night, I would love to let you come on, man. And just laugh with me. Just sit in that seat and laugh with me, bro, if you want to. Hey, Buckeye Seeds, that's I use American Seed Company. I don't forget who you sent me, KC, but you gave me a third more seeds than I had. Like, my box of seeds was this big. You made it that big. You know what I'm saying? Like, you added a bunch to mine when you sent me some. I appreciate you so much. And I'm going to put them in the ground. I'm going to test a bunch of them.
I do use Buckeye Seed. I know Jan. Personally, I love her. I've never had an issue with her seeds ever. And they're heirloom seeds. And that's who I use. It's Buckeye Seeds on Etsy. I use Jan. I do. Okay. I love her.
Is that what you sent me? Was the Buckeyes? Yeah. Hey, Rip, you email me and I'll give you my phone number, bro, and we'll do one, man. Rip, just email me. Come and snakes in the like show up in a van down the street. Hey, I like the sewing stuff you're doing, Camo. Again, creators doing their thing. Camo Carl does the little sewing stuff, and there's all kind of customization and stuff, and it's just good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep.
Oh, he's saying every time TT1 comments on my content, the Men in Black show up in the Van Street. Hey, man, that's on you, bro. You need to move locations now and then throw that cell phone away and get you a burner. Get you a burner phone, bro, and move.
Wild Bull, you'll have to go back. My replay gang, I appreciate it. But my chat, there's way more in chat usually than I can get up everything on the screen. They hold my chat to the next day. So if you want to read all that, you got to go to watch it the next day.
There's been some good ones too. Like I was shocked at how it started to pour in from Dusty and different farmer, people that were gardeners started throwing it in there. Native came in and it just got stirred up like a frenzy. People were dropping so many things, and I'm watching it on a big screen, and you get to like take in all that information. We're different people are, because like Rip's in Oregon, you're down south, and I'm in the middle. I'm in Tennessee. All of our soil's different. Miss Sharon's, randoms, we all have different kind of growing situations. Native, they're all in different places, different zones. You know what I mean?
So all in different areas, and things that work for me may not work for someone else in a different thing. But
absolutely,
So Rip, there was a lot of places that were asking people. This was in North Carolina at the time. They were asking people to register their gardens. There were several states that wanted people to register their backyard gardens. And that was one. And I was just calling because the agriculture, because I was like, y'all need to come out here and test this. Because I didn't know, should we even be in that area? I didn't know what kind of poison it was. Was that safe for my kids, or I had to be out there or barefoot or hands in it, because I didn't know what it was. And
right. Man, they don't want us growing food, y'all. They don't want you growing food. Be a rebel, grow some food, because they don't want you growing food. They don't. Go against the grain, man.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. But if y'all have anything, and you can still email me or throw things down, any other tips or whatever, I love stuff like that. Yes. And Miss Sharon, thank you. All my mods, thank you. Chat, thank you. TT1, I appreciate you coming up here with me. We always have a good time and hang out. I appreciate you.
Good stuff, man. Good talks tonight too, man. We were really covering things, and I learned from the chat so much. There's so much to give from the chat.
Yeah, and just I mean, no matter where your situation, where you're at, is drop some seeds in some dirt. I don't care what it is, containers or how you have to do it. I just put it gracious. See native, yeah, all that. It's just
Thank you.
I appreciate all you guys. Just grow what you can. And every year you're doing more than you did last year. Don't compare yourself to others. Just, and do stuff that you need. You utilize herbs, food, whatever. Anything you're headed more than you were last year, last season, that's what matters.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys. We may do some more of these. I may end up doing some more of these garden talk things again, just because of season and different things about being garden self-sufficiency. I may do a couple of these lives because I just really think that we're in that season and the time in the world and everything to get people involved. And this is kind of that direction I kind of want to do because I think it's so helpful for so many, no matter what your situation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Absolutely. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Good to see y'all.
We'll see you guys on the next one. I appreciate you. Y'all have a great night.
Peace, y'all.